Hello everyone, my name is Jennifer Bland and I want to talk to you about the value of a college degree versus attending a coding boot camp. I have the distinct pleasure of saying that I have a college degree and I also attended a coding boot camp. And I wanted to compare the two and talk about whether or not you should do one or the other one over the other one. The first thing that you want to consider when considering getting a college degree versus a coding bootcamp is simply the cost. College education, if you go to in-state, you get in-state tuition. Usually the cost of 1 year at a college degree is equal to the 3 months that you might spend in a coding bootcamp. If you're attending college, you also are going to have 4 full years that you're going to have to pay out. Not only that, but you have room and board that you have to pay out and other expenses during that 4-year time frame. The other thing to consider is how long it actually takes to complete a college degree versus a coding boot camp. Traditionally, college degrees are a 4-year commitment. Coding boot camps generally range somewhere between 3 months to 6 months in length for you to complete. So the college degree is always going to take longer than it would take to complete a coding boot camp. Third thing to consider between a college degree and a coding boot camp is the perception of potential hiring companies. Boot camps are kind of relatively new. If you are out in Silicon Valley, where they're very frequent to have a large number of coding boot camps, hiring companies are much more open to hiring graduates from these coding boot camps. I, on the other hand, live in Atlanta, Georgia. It's on the other coast from Silicon Valley. There is a late adoption to supporting graduates from coding boot camps. They're not as prevalent here. There are not as many graduates from the coding boot camps, and so most companies are not familiar with them. Sometimes you will end up with situations where the hiring manager at a company who has absolutely no knowledge of what you're doing or what your skill sets are will only look at your resume, and if they don't see that you've graduated from a college, then they will just throw your resume away and they will not consider you for that position. I think that's sad to hear, but that's the reality of what's out there. So you have to be aware of that as to how well companies actually consider coding boot camp graduates. The other thing is, what will you learn in a coding boot camp that you won't learn in college, or what would you learn in college that you wouldn't learn in a coding boot camp? Well, the most common thing that you're going to learn in a 4-year CS degree, computer science degree, is you're going to learn in-depth more information about data structures. You're going to learn more theory. You may even learn about operating systems. You will not learn these topics in a very short 3-month to a 6-month coding boot camp. So some of those things potential employers want their people that they hire to actually know. So you have to be aware that you're not going to get that. You're going to get more theory in college. You're going to get more hands-on experience in a coding boot camp. And I've seen after 4 years of college versus a 3-month coding boot camp, I actually had more hands-on programming experience in my coding boot camp than I did in 4 years of college. Even though it was 4 years versus 3 months. You're there in a coding boot camp for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to learn how to program. Computer science degrees will teach you a wide range of things, and you might be learning things before you actually get into a programming class. You might even be taking a class on theory that has absolutely no programming in it, but it's something that you're required to take in order to complete your degree. Another thing that you have between a college degree versus a coding boot camp is, from my experience, is you actually get more hands-on experience working on programming projects coming out of a coding boot camp than you do coming out of a CS degree. In most CS degree courses, you would be, okay, here's what you're learning this programming language, and then you have to go and actually write this code to do whatever thing that they tell you to do. From what I've had from my experiences is you're completing all of those projects on your own. You're not doing them as part of a team. When you're working in a coding boot camp, you're working as part of a team, usually 3 people, 4 people, maybe a little bit bigger, 5 people on a team, but you're working together to accomplish a project. That more closely mimics what you're going to be experiencing in a day-to-day environment as a programmer once you get hired. So I think that experience of working together on projects is more valuable coming out of a coding boot camp than what you come out of a college degree. One of the things that you're going to learn in a coding boot camp is how to use Git. Every company that's out there uses a version control system. Git is the most common one that you will use. And you will actually learn how to use those in your projects in the coding boot camp. In college, I never actually learned Git. I never knew how to do it until your first day on work. That was when I learned how to use Git. And I think that's a disservice that universities have, and that they're not actually teaching their CS grads actually on how to use it. One of the things that I think colleges provide that you will never get in a coding boot camp is that you will actually be able to take courses on basically business administration, in terms of however you want to call it, and also finance. I think those core courses are something that every person, regardless of what line of work that they do, they need to know. If you're a programmer working for a company, regardless of what industry that company is in, you kind of need to know how that company works, what the code that you're working on, and what value is it going to provide to the business. What type of income is it going to provide the company as a result of you producing this work. You will never learn that coming out of a coding boot camp. And I think that's one of the shortcomings of a coding boot camp. Looking over it after graduating from college, having a college degree, and then later on attending a coding boot camp, if I had to do it over today, what would I do? I think I would actually combine the two and take the best of what you get from both and use those to build my own career path and so forth. One of the things that I would do is I would definitely attend a coding boot camp. I would also go and attend maybe equivalent of a junior college 2-year degree where I can focus on taking just business courses and finance courses, and possibly maybe also data structures and maybe 1 or 2 courses on theory that you would have gotten as part of a CS degree, but you don't get as part of a coding boot camp. That would give me a well-rounded environment. It's something that you can complete in 2 years, half the time of a college degree. A little bit, it takes a year longer than it would be if you attended just a coding boot camp. But what it gives you is, it gives you the value of having a degree, even though it's a junior college degree, a 2-year degree, associate's degree. But you also have that hands-on experience that you get out of a coding boot camp. You also have the theory that you would be getting also out of a CS degree. The one thing that you're not getting as a result of choosing this type of environment is you're not taking all of the courses that colleges require you to take as part of their core curriculum. Things like English or a foreign language or physics or chemistry or astronomy or Bible studies or American history or European history or stuff like that, which even though I have a college degree, those courses that I took have absolutely been no value to me since I've graduated from college. So as somebody who's graduated, has a college degree, and who's also attended a coding boot camp. If your goal is to become a programmer and to work within the tech industry, one of the things that I would recommend doing would be to consider taking the best of both worlds and building your own curriculum to build the skill sets that you need to become a successfully employed programmer within the tech industry. And just to recap, those things that I recommend based on my experience would be to combine a coding boot camp with business and finance and theory courses that you can take maybe in a year, maybe 2 years at a junior college, and then go out and get a job within the tech industry as a programmer. I hope that helps. If you're considering whether or not to attend college or to do a coding boot camp, that gives you my firsthand experience from having done both. If you have anything else, please check out my website, which is jenniferbland.com. Thank you very much for watching.